The more you chase her, the less she respects you. And that's the brutal truth every man needs to face. You think love means giving more, texting faster, being available 24/7, but in her eyes that only makes you predictable, replaceable, and weak. A woman only respects you when she feels your absence, when she knows your life is bigger than her moods, when she senses you can walk away without looking back. That's not cruelty, that's strength, and strength is what women admire. This is Stoicism in action, controlling what you can, never begging for what you can't, and living with such self-respect that you'd rather lose her than lose yourself. Stop chasing. Detach. Build your life. Because the man who needs her loses her, but the man who doesn't need her commands her respect forever. In this video, we're breaking down exactly why a woman only respects you when you detach completely, the psychology behind it, the mistakes most men keep repeating, and how you can apply timeless Stoic principles to turn the power dynamic in your favor and transform not just your relationships, but your entire life. Number 1. Neediness is repulsive. You wake up and she's the first thing on your mind. You grab your phone, open the messages, no text from her, so you send one, something harmless. Good morning. You wait. No reply. Your heart races a bit. Maybe she's just busy. Hours pass. You start overthinking. Did I say something wrong? Is she losing interest? You send another message. This one's longer. Just thinking about you. Hope your day's going well. Still nothing. Now the spiral begins. You start stalking her social media. She posted a story. She's online. She saw your message. And yet, nothing. But instead of walking away, instead of pulling back, you dig deeper. You double down. You think if you just show her how much you care, she'll finally notice. Finally respond. But what you don't realize is, every message you send, every time you reach out, every time you put her at the center of your attention while she gives you nothing back, you are draining her attraction. You are stripping yourself of value. You're showing her, without even realizing, that she comes before you, that your own peace, your own priorities, your own mission can wait. Because she exists, and whether she's conscious of it or not, she feels it. She reads your energy like a book. Women are biologically wired to sense weakness in men, not because they're evil, but because it's survival. Deep down, she needs to know if you can lead, if you can protect, if you're solid under pressure. But when you fold at the first sign of distance, when you chase after crumbs, when you prioritize her silence over your self-worth, she doesn't see love. She sees liability. Neediness screams to her that you have nothing else going on, that your life isn't full, that you don't have goals so demanding a woman needs to compete with them for your time. It tells her you don't believe you're enough unless she validates you, and the second she senses that, she loses respect. It doesn't matter how handsome you are. It doesn't matter how nice, generous, or thoughtful. All she sees is a man willing to abandon his standards for a moment of her attention. That's the death of desire. Have you ever noticed how the men who do the least often get treated the best? It's not because women love jerks. It's because jerks don't pedestalize them. Those men don't text every hour. They don't bend over backward. They don't chase. And because of that, they're respected. I'm not saying become a jerk. I'm saying become a man who values himself more than the need for validation. I'm saying become a man who doesn't beg to be seen, but who chooses to be rare. Detachment is your only weapon. When she pulls back, you disappear. When she stops trying, you stop giving. Not out of anger, not out of manipulation, but out of self-respect. You don't punish her. You simply protect your energy. You show her you are not a man who will cling to anyone who's not meeting you halfway. And the moment you do that, something powerful shifts. She starts to wonder. She questions her assumptions. Why isn't he chasing me like before? Is he over me? Has he found someone else? That emotional suspense is where respect is reborn. But it only happens if you let go of the urge to chase. It only happens if you replace the need for her with a commitment to yourself. You want her attention. Stop making her your priority. You want her to chase you? Become someone worth chasing, not through manipulation, but by becoming whole. Your gym sessions, your business, your discipline, your solitude. These are not distractions. They are the very things that rebuild your masculine frame. They remind you that you are the asset, not her attention, not her body, not her approval, but your time, your focus, your mission. The world will never hand you the respect you deserve. You must demand it, not with words, but with standards. And it starts with killing the need to be needed. The next time you feel the urge to send that text, to double message, to beg for a response, stop. Ask yourself, what would the man I respect do? He wouldn't chase, he wouldn't fold, he would breathe, wait, grind, elevate, and watch as everything, including her, falls into place. Because neediness is repulsive, but self-respect, that's irresistible. And if you're sitting there realizing how much of your life you've wasted chasing, begging, and proving yourself to women who never respected you, then this is where everything changes. Because I've put together the Stoic Relationship Blueprint, an ebook that gives you the exact principles, tools, and mindset shifts to stop being the man who is ignored and start being the man who is respected. Imagine never second-guessing yourself again, never wondering why she's pulling away, never losing sleep over mixed signals, because you'll finally understand the game for what it is and how to win it without losing yourself. The best part, once you grab this ebook, it's yours forever. A lifetime reference you can always go back to, no matter what stage of life or relationship you're in. This isn't just information. It's a blueprint to rebuild your identity, your confidence, and your relationships from the ground up. The link is in the comments. Make sure you secure your copy while it's still available. Number 2. She's attracted to emotional control. There's a part of you that believes showing emotion proves you care, that if you open up, cry, beg, or express your pain when she's pulling away, she'll finally understand and come back to you with love and appreciation. But in reality, every emotional breakdown you show her under pressure is a nail in the coffin of her respect. She doesn't feel safe with a man who loses his center. Because deep inside, whether she says it or not, she's looking for stability, not sympathy, and emotional control is the greatest sign of inner strength you can display. It's not about being heartless or robotic. It's about staying composed when everything around you is tempting you to lose control. She throws shade. She acts distant. She tests your limits. And every time you react, with anger, desperation, or emotional flooding, she confirms what she already suspects, that you're not the grounded man she thought you were. And the worst part? The more you try to explain yourself, the more she pulls away. You see, when you react emotionally to her behavior, you're signaling that she controls your internal state, that her moods dictate your energy, that her approval is your fuel, and that right there destroys attraction at the root. You stop being the strong presence she once admired and start becoming an emotional liability. Women don't run from men who are unavailable emotionally. They run from men who are emotionally weak. What you need to realize is that emotional control doesn't mean bottling everything up. It means filtering your responses through logic and long-term thinking. You feel the chaos inside, but you don't let it dictate your actions. You hear her disrespect, but you don't match it with insecurity. You simply observe, adjust, and remove yourself when necessary. That's power. That's what creates the mystery and magnetism women crave but can't explain. When you detach emotionally, she starts asking questions. She wonders if you've moved on, if you've found better, if you even care. That curiosity, that fear, is what keeps her invested. But it only comes when you show that your emotions are not for sale. So start practicing it now. Next time she's cold, don't explain. Mirror the energy in silence. When she disrespects you, don't argue. disengage. When she ignores you, don't chase, withdraw. Not out of malice, but mastery. You own your emotions. They don't own you. And when you finally stop trying to prove you're good enough and start acting like you already are, she'll feel it. Her tone changes, her behavior shifts, because deep down she only respects the man who can stand in the fire of emotional chaos without flinching. That's who you must become, not for her, for you. The man who lives with discipline, leads with reason, and loves without attachment. Emotional control isn't just attractive, it's transformative. It reshapes your relationships, your life, and your future. And it starts the moment you stop giving her power over your peace. Number 3. Validation. Seeking makes you disposable. You don't realize how quickly you become invisible to a woman when your entire relationship with her revolves around seeking her approval, her attention, her validation. You think that by constantly showing her love, by sending sweet texts, by complimenting her every detail, by always being available and making her feel like the center of your universe, you're securing your place in her life. But in reality, you're killing every ounce of mystery, tension, and power that attracted her in the first place. She doesn't need a fan. She doesn't want a doormat. She wants a man who moves with purpose and confidence, a man who doesn't revolve around her, but instead orbits his own mission, with or without her. Every time you check in just to see how her day is going, even when she's been cold to you for days. Every time you comment, "Good morning, beautiful," on her pictures, even when she barely replies with a tie. Every time you reschedule your commitments because she randomly wants to hang out. You're sending the message that your life is built around her whims, and once she sees that, she places you in the category of safe, predictable, and boring. The brutal reality is that women lose respect for the man who needs their validation because they instinctively know that he doesn't respect himself. When your confidence is built on how she feels about you, how often she texts you back, how much attention she gives you, you hand her the keys to your self-worth, and no woman wants to carry that responsibility. She doesn't want to be your emotional source code. She wants to be around a man who validates himself through the goals he smashes, the mission he's on, and the standards he holds, not a man who crumbles every time she gives him less attention. And the worst part, you don't even notice it happening. It starts with her pulling back slightly. You try harder. She gives less. You double your effort. Before you know it, you're exhausting yourself to keep a woman interested who has already mentally moved on. The truth is, the more you give without receiving, the faster she disconnects. Not because you're not enough, but because you're too available, too eager, too desperate. You remove the challenge. You strip away the tension. You become a certainty, and nothing kills attraction like certainty. So what do? You reclaim your validation. You stop texting first. You stop showing up just because she wants you to. You begin investing that energy into yourself, into your fitness, your business, your dreams. You start waking up, and the first thing you check isn't her story, but your to-do list. You put the phone down and pick the weights up. You choose your purpose over her attention. And guess what happens? She notices. She starts chasing. She starts wondering why you're not chasing anymore. That's when the dynamic flips. Not because you played a game, but because you finally valued yourself enough to stop begging for crumbs. You begin to carry yourself like a man who doesn't need her to feel good, and in that detachment, you become desirable again. So stop pouring your energy into a cup with holes. Stop offering yourself to someone who isn't reciprocating. Let her experience the discomfort of your absence. Let her work for your presence. Only then will she truly see your worth. You're not meant to be liked. You're meant to be respected. And when you stop seeking validation, you start getting exactly that. Number 4. Her love isn't unconditional. You've been told that if you just love her the right way, if you give her your heart, stay loyal, support her dreams, and never stop showing up, she'll love you back with the same intensity, forever. But that's a lie. Her love isn't unconditional. It never has been. It's based on how you make her feel. and feelings change. She doesn't love you for who you are in theory. She loves you for who you are in action, in presence, in power. When you're in your purpose, when you walk with conviction, when your attention is earned, not given, that's when her love feels intense, emotional, deep. But the moment you stop showing up as that man, the strong, silent, focused one, the clock starts ticking. Her admiration turns into tolerance. Her respect turns into complaint. And eventually she checks out emotionally, even if her body stays. You start feeling her absence even when she's lying next to you. She's not laughing at your jokes anymore. She doesn't initiate anything. She's always on her phone. And you keep wondering what happened, because you're still the same guy who brought her flowers, supported her business, gave her compliments, paid the bills. But that's the problem. You stayed the same. You gave more as she gave less. You doubled down on being nice when she started being distant. You thought more affection would fix the gap, but all it did was widen it, because you missed the real reason she loved you in the first place. You had edge, you had mystery, you had standards, you had silence. You didn't reveal all your emotions right away. You didn't chase, you didn't beg. You made her feel like she won something, and that feeling is what she fell for. Not the flowers, not the loyalty, the feeling of being pulled into your world, not being the center of it. The second you flipped that dynamic, when she became your source of happiness, her love turned into obligation, and no one wants to love out of obligation. So stop believing in fairy tales. Start observing reality. Her love is based on your energy, your strength, your presence. If you want it to last, you need to constantly evolve, elevate, sharpen your blade. Don't let comfort turn you soft. Don't let her acceptance turn you into a servant. Keep your edge, keep your space. Stay the man she fought to get, not the man who bends to her every mood. You don't have to hate her for this. You just have to understand it. She's wired for survival. She needs to feel inspired. She needs to feel like she has to earn you. That's what keeps her love alive. And that only happens when you love yourself more than you love her. Not in words, but in action. When your goals come first. When your standards are unbreakable. When your time is expensive. That's when she looks at you and says, I can't afford to lose this man. Not because you threatened her, but because you moved like a man who doesn't tolerate disrespect. Her love isn't free, it's rented, and every day you either pay in purpose or you pay with your pride. So choose wisely, stop loving blindly, start leading boldly, and watch how her love follows your lead, not your need. Number 5. Your presence must be earned. You don't realize how quickly she stops valuing your presence when it's always guaranteed, when no matter how she treats you, no matter how disrespectful or distant she becomes, you're still showing up like clockwork, waiting for her to acknowledge you, hoping for scraps of attention, thinking that consistency equals love when in reality what it equals in her eyes is weakness, boredom, and predictability, because nothing kills a woman's respect faster than a man who hands himself over too easily, who gives his time and attention as if it costs nothing, when in truth your time is the most valuable thing you own, and the one thing that should never be cheap or free. And the brutal truth is that if she doesn't have to earn your presence, she will never respect it. She'll tolerate it, she'll exploit it, but she will not value it because value is created by scarcity. And when you're always available, when your presence is predictable, you strip away the very tension that makes her crave you in the first place. And what happens next is inevitable. She stops showing up fully. She stops putting in effort. She gives less while you give more. And eventually you become the background noise in her life. The man she knows will always be there, no matter how little she invests. And from there, she starts entertaining other options, testing boundaries, because deep down, she no longer fears losing you. So she takes you for granted, and you reinforce that behavior every time you show up, without making her earn it. But if you want to transform that dynamic, you need to reclaim your time, reclaim your presence, and make it something rare again, not by playing games, but by building a life that demands your attention more than she does, You stop dropping everything for her last-minute plans. You stop rearranging your schedule because she suddenly feels like seeing you. You stop overextending when she's giving you the bare minimum, and instead you prioritize your mission, your growth, your grind. And you let her feel the difference, because when your presence is tied to her effort, when she knows she has to give in order to get, suddenly she stops coasting. She starts putting in effort again. She starts reaching out first. She starts dressing better when she sees you, because she knows it's not guaranteed. And this shift doesn't just affect her behavior. It affects yours too. Because once you start valuing your own presence, once you stop giving it away for free, you begin to realize how much time you've wasted on women who didn't deserve it. How many hours, days, years you gave away to someone who was never investing equally. And that realization should sting, but it should also free you, because now you know the truth. Your presence must be earned, not begged for, not negotiated, earned. And once you live by that principle, you'll never find yourself chasing someone who doesn't respect you again, because you'll be too busy living a life so valuable that only the worthy get access. And when a woman feels that, when she realizes you are not a man who can be summoned at will, she'll never look at you the same way again, because the man who values his time is the man who commands respect. Number 6. She wants to feel like she could lose you. Deep down, every woman is testing to see if the man she's with is capable of leaving her, not because she wants him to leave, but because she wants to feel the weight of his absence as a possibility. She wants to know that if she stops showing up, if she disrespects him, if she withdraws her effort, there will be consequences. And the consequence isn't a long lecture. It isn't begging. It isn't pleading. It's the cold silence of his withdrawal, the awareness that he can walk away at any time. And the truth most men refuse to accept is that the second she realizes you will never leave no matter what, the second she senses that you're locked in, no matter how poorly she treats you, her respect for you evaporates because you've become predictable, controllable, safe in the worst way. Safe as in, she knows she can push your limits, ignore your needs, disrespect your boundaries, and you'll still be there, desperate to win her back. But that's not love. That's slavery, and she will never respect a man who makes himself her emotional slave. So you need to understand this. Women only truly respect men who are capable of leaving, and not leaving in anger, not leaving in threats, but leaving calmly, without notice, without explanation. Because a man who can leave is a man who cannot be controlled, and that unpredictability is what keeps her respect alive. It's what keeps her thinking, wondering, chasing, because she knows that your presence is conditional. Conditional on her effort, conditional on her respect, conditional on her valuing you the way you deserve. And the moment she stops, you're gone, not because you're cruel, but because you respect yourself more than you crave her validation. And that self-respect is what makes her fear losing you. And that fear is the backbone of her respect, because she doesn't respect men she can control. She doesn't respect men who tolerate everything. She respects the man who draws the line and has the strength to walk away when it's crossed. And if you want to build this in your life, you need to start practicing detachment today. You need to stop over-explaining yourself when she's distant. You need to stop begging for answers when she's cold. You need to stop sticking around when she's showing you she doesn't care. You need to cut the access the moment the respect is gone, because every time you stay after she's disrespected you, you're teaching her that she can keep doing it. But every time you detach, every time you step back, every time you disappear when she crosses the line, you're reminding her that you are not a man who can be taken for granted, and she will feel that deeply. She will feel the fear of losing you, and that fear is the exact emotion that reignites her respect. Because the man she cannot lose is the man she values most, not because he begged, not because he threatened, but because he showed her through action that he values himself above her moods. And that lesson will change not just your relationship, but your entire life. Because when you become the man who can walk away, you're no longer tied to anyone's approval. You're free, and freedom is the foundation of respect. Number 7. Silence is louder than words. You think she'll finally respect you if you explain yourself, if you break down your feelings, if you tell her exactly how much she's hurting you and why she needs to change. But the truth is, every word you throw at her when she's already pulling away only pushes her further, because in her mind, the man who needs to talk endlessly to justify his value is the man who doesn't truly believe in it himself. And while you're writing long texts, arguing late at night and repeating yourself hoping she'll understand, she's already tuned you out. She's already lost respect, because women don't respect a man who tries to convince them to feel something they don't feel. They respect the man who has the strength to go quiet, to cut off words, to remove energy, because silence speaks what words never can. Silence makes her feel your absence in a way explanations never will. Silence forces her to reflect on her own behavior instead of reacting to yours. And silence shows her that you are not desperate to fix something that she's breaking with her own actions. And this is where most men fail. They can't stand the tension of silence. They can't stand her ignoring them, so they chase harder. They blow up her phone. They beg to talk. They write essays about their love. And every time they do this, they train her to lose more respect, because she knows he will never leave. But the man who embraces silence, who pulls back when disrespected, who doesn't try to reason when she's already pulling away, is the man who makes her wonder, who makes her doubt her control, who makes her realize she may have overplayed her hand. And this doubt is what reawakens her respect, because suddenly she doesn't know where she stands. She doesn't know if you're done. She doesn't know if she's losing you, and that uncertainty is what drives her back. Not your words, but your silence. And this applies not just with women, but in every area of life. Because silence is power. Silence is the weapon of the man who doesn't beg for validation. Silence is the energy of the man who knows he doesn't need to explain himself to anyone, so start practicing it. The next time she's cold, don't send 3 messages asking why. Go silent. The next time she disrespects you, don't argue. Detach. The next time she ignores your calls, don't call back 10 times. Disappear. And as hard as it feels in the moment, you'll notice the shift, because silence flips the script. Silence makes her chase. Silence makes her feel the loss. And most importantly, silence re-centers your power. Because when you don't waste words on someone who isn't respecting you, you remind yourself that your time and energy are not for those who don't deserve them. And that is what separates the man who is disposable from the man who is unforgettable. Number 8. You're the prize. Act like it. You keep forgetting the fundamental truth that would change your entire life. You are the prize, not her. You are the man building, working, creating, fighting for a vision bigger than both of you, and yet you keep treating her like she's the trophy. You keep chasing, begging, proving, apologizing for things that don't need apologies, giving gifts to buy back her affection, rearranging your entire life around her moods, and every time you do that you strip yourself of the very power that made her attracted to you in the first place. Because no woman respects the man who puts her on a pedestal. She respects the man who puts himself first, who values his purpose above her emotions, who treats his life as the prize she's lucky to be part of, not the other way around. And if you want to see how fast respect returns, stop chasing her and start chasing your mission. Stop trying to prove your worth to her and start proving your worth to yourself. Stop thinking you need to earn her loyalty and start realizing she needs to earn your commitment. Because the truth is, women don't fall in love with the man who makes them the center of his universe. They fall in love with the man who has his own universe and lets them orbit it. So stop giving away your crown. Stop begging for her to see your value. Stand tall in it. Live in it. Breathe in it. Because when you start acting like the prize, everything changes. Her behavior shifts. She stops taking you for granted. She starts trying again, not because you told her to, but because she feels it. She feels the energy of a man who doesn't need her, but chooses her, and that's the difference. The man who acts like the prize chooses carefully, sets standards, enforces boundaries, never tolerates disrespect, because he knows his value. And when you move like that, not only does her respect skyrocket, but your entire life changes because opportunities, relationships, and respect flow to the man who knows his worth. So write down your goals, break them down into steps, execute daily, build your body, grow your money, sharpen your mind, and as you rise, let her either rise with you or get left behind, because the prize doesn't beg to be kept. The prize is fought for, respected, and cherished. And once you live by that truth, you'll never need to chase validation again, because the world will see what you've become, and she will either respect it or regret losing it. But either way, you win, because the man who knows he's the prize is the man who never loses. The truth is simple. The man who chases loses, the man who detaches wins, and until you master this, you'll keep repeating the same painful cycles with different women, wasting years you can never get back. If you're ready to finally break free, to live by principles that make women respect you and men admire you, then it's time to grab the Stoic Relationship Blueprint, the ebook built for men who refuse to beg, who choose to live with strength, and who will never again settle for disrespect. Once you have it, it's yours forever, your permanent guide to reclaiming your power in love and in life. The link is waiting in the comments. Don't wait, because every day you don't act is another day lost to weakness. Comment, I choose respect, if you're ready to step into this truth. Like this video to help more men escape years of regret, and subscribe so we can spread this message to every man who needs to hear it before it's too late.